everyone. You're at the International Desk, where we bring you the world up to the minute. Happening now at the iDesk, CNN's only report from Tehran on this Friday. What our crew witnessed during today's comments by Ayatollah Khamenei. Plus, breaking news out of Wimbledon. Defending champ Rafael Nadal has pulled out. A press conference just wrapped up, the latest in a few minutes. And new information coming into us about who may have planned the assassination of former Pakistani Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto.
Live from CNN Center, you're at the International Desk with Hala Garani.
Welcome again. Up first at the iDesk this hour, reaction continuing to come in to us on remarks by Iran's supreme leader. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei delivered a rare sermon today, addressing his nation, but also addressing the world. He said the elections in his country were free and fair, and that incumbent President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad won a, quote, definitive victory. He also told opposition members to take their complaints to court, not the street.
Arms wrestling in streets is not the right thing to do after the election. It only challenges the election and democracy. I want everyone to put an end to this. This is not the right thing to do. If they don't stop this, then the consequences and the writing, everything, they will be held accountable for all this.
Once again, the Iranian government is limiting CNN to just one report from our team in Tehran every day. I got the opportunity to speak with our Reza Sayah in the Iranian capital in the earlier edition of iDesk, and we started by talking about the Supreme Leader's sermon.
The Supreme Leader came out today and said these elections were free, these elections were fair, and the winner was President Ahmadinejad. He said he was reelected, and he said if there's any more protests, he's not going to be happy about it. And he made it clear that if indeed he does see more protests, he's not going to hesitate to come out and make himself even more clear. Quite a scene today at Tehran University, the site of Friday prayers. This was a rare appearance by the Supreme Leader. He usually doesn't lead Friday prayers unless he has something to say. Tens of thousands of people showed up to Friday prayers to see what kind of resolution, what kind of answers he had for this political turmoil that's been unfolding for the past week. And he basically said, trust the vote, trust the election results, and trust the legal system. And he did say that this legal system includes the recount, the partial recount underway by the Guardian Council, but he said that recount is not going to make a difference because of the wide margin of 11 million votes. Hala.
And what about the opposition itself? There was a stern warning issued today from the Supreme Leader of Iran saying, stop these rallies. What will the Mousavi camp do?
Well, we spoke to an activist in the Mousavi camp, and he made it clear to CNN that he didn't like what the Supreme Leader had to say. He said it was a threatening tone. He compared it to a military-style rallying of the troops, and he basically said the Supreme Leader left no room to find common grounds. But this is such a stage, a chess match in such a huge scale. This was the Supreme Leader's move today. He clearly backed the president. Now it's Mr. Mousavi's move. What will he do? Tomorrow there's a scheduled rally. A lot of people were eager to see after this very stern warning if that rally would continue. We spoke to members of the Mousavi camp, and they said yes, they will go on with the rally scheduled tomorrow. And we also spoke with the Interior Ministry, and they said they will not grant a permit. So another big day. It seems like every day is a huge day here with huge developments. Another one coming up tomorrow, Hala.
But this would be very different if after Ayatollah Ali Khamenei says, stop demonstrating, the demonstrations continue. That is open defiance, isn't it?
No question about it, and that's what makes tomorrow very crucial. Before today, we didn't quite know where the Supreme Leader and who the Supreme Leader would side with. He'd initially come out a day after the vote, and he congratulated President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. But then you had day after day of these tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of people coming out in support of Mir Hossein Mousavi. There was unprecedented pressure on this regime, unprecedented pressure on the Supreme Leader. So the question was, what would he do? Who would he side with? If he would have sided with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, he would have basically turned his back on the tens of thousands of supporters of Mir Hossein Mousavi who protested this election. If he would have sided with them, he would have undermined the regime and President Ahmadinejad, perhaps even himself. But today, he made it clear that he's siding with the president. He doesn't want to see this political drama play out publicly, and he wants it to end.
All right, and that was Reza Sayed just a bit earlier speaking with us from Tehran. The Ayatollah accused the United States and Britain and what he called Iran's other enemies of fomenting unrest. He singled out Britain, calling that country evil. Britain's Foreign Office expressed its concern to an Iranian diplomat. Speaking at a European Union summit in Brussels, the Prime Minister of the UK, Gordon Brown, urged Iran to respect its people's rights. Listen.
Well, the whole world is looking at Iran, at the speech that has been made today, but also what is happening in Iran has been happening over the last few weeks. It is for the Iranian people to decide their future in elections, but we are with others, including the whole of the European Union, unanimously today in condemning the use of violence, in condemning media suppression, and in condemning attempts, of course, to make sure that there are people who are political prisoners who are not free to express their views in Iran.
Gordon Brown there. Paula Newton is working the story for us, and she joins us now live from London. In the immediate aftermath of the election, Paula, we didn't hear this kind of rhetoric from Western leaders. What has changed?
It was Khamenei's speech today that actually made this change possible, but it's not anything that the British government, or for that matter, any other government would have wanted to get involved in right now. Hala, we've been speaking today and many days about that diplomatic tightrope that is so difficult to try and straddle at this point. But today, Britain decided it had to take a stand. I mean, they were called the most evil enemy, the most treacherous enemy, and they had to make sure that they protested about that quite loudly. Hala?
What about really what the West cares about most at this point? I believe it would be the nuclear issue. How will this change that, if at all?
It won't change it at all, Hala, in terms of its nuclear program. But clearly, you can see security departments both in London, in Washington, and other European capitals at NATO watching what goes on, this power struggle among the religious leaders. And there is definitely some type of battle going on, and that makes them incredibly nervous in terms of trying to safeguard whatever is going on with the nuclear program in Iran. Hala?
And the ambassador of Iran as well summoned. Tell us more about that.
Well, the ambassador, lucky guy, didn't happen to find himself in London today, so it was up to his second-in-command, the Charge d'Affaires, to go in and listen to the comments, really, of 10 Downing Street, which were that they made clear that the Supreme Leader's comments were unacceptable and not based on fact. You know, an interesting tidbit here, Hala, we have to say that the British ambassador to Iran has been called in 2 times this week in Tehran to be told, look, we believe that your media, your British media, is trying to affect things in our country, and we don't like that. So, I mean, look, the British government was really thankful to be on the sidelines of this, such a delicate issue for so many days now. But today they just felt we're going to have to take this a step further.
All right. Well, definitely more tension there between Iran and some of these Western countries, including the UK. Paula Newton is reporting live from London. Thank you.